So 4 types of methods we learned in the last class and they defined all the 4. What is it? Non-value returning method without any parameters, non-value returning method with parameters, value returning method without parameters, and value returning methods with parameters. Now the 4 things I defined here in the last class. Okay? And finally we stopped it here. What is that? Where should I define methods?
Where should I
define methods? Louder, yaar. Speak loud. Inside a class. So you should define the methods inside a class. Why? As per the rule of encapsulation. Already in the last class we concluded, as per the rule of encapsulation, you're required to define all the methods inside a class. Next. The methods that are defined in the class, will they execute directly? I'm getting irritation with you, I'm telling you that one. Open the mouth and answer, yeah. Tell something. The methods that are defined in a class, will they execute directly? No, they won't execute directly. Why? If you want a method or a member of the class to execute, you need to call it. We just require to call it. Until and unless they are called, they won't be executed. Until and unless they are called, they will not be executed. Now the question is, how to call the methods? How to call the methods that are defined in a class? How to call the methods that are defined in a class? Okay? Say, listen guys. To call the methods that are defined in a class, first we need to identify the methods are static or non-static. Static or non-static. And if they are static, we can directly prefix the class name and call them. Whereas, if the methods are non-static, we need to create instance of that class and call them by prefixing the instance before. Read that all of you. We'll get a clarity. What clarity? Whether they are static or non-static. They are static. Prefix the class name and call. They are non-static. Create an instance, prefix the instance and call. Understood all of you? So that is the first thing what we just require to understand. Now come back to your code now and tell me. You defined 4 methods in the class now. You defined 4 methods in the class. Now tell me guys, these 4 methods are static, or these 4 methods are non-static, or we have both. Come on, answer me faster. These 4 are static methods. These 4 are non-static methods. I'm giving you 3 options before you. First option, all the 4 are static. Second option, all the 4 are non-static. Third option, some are static, some are non-static. Come on, what do you answer? Both are static or non-static? All are non-static. Confidently answer, yeah. Confidently answer. Why will you whisper in the mouth? All the 4 are non-static. Why? There is no static method here. When will the method become static? I already explained to you. You require to use the static keyword. You are using a main event. Remember, main is static. These 4 methods are non-static. But you said this is static. I did not say the method is static. I said your method is static in behavior. The static here is opposite to dynamic. These 4 methods are not static. See, some of you said both is a wrong word. All the 4 are non-static. There is no static member at all. There is no static member at all. All the four members are non-static only. There is no static member inside of this class. All four are non-static. Understood, everyone? Okay? Now the people are answering as both. No, both is the wrong answer. All the four are non-static. If all the four are non-static, what should I do now? I should create an instance and call them. I should create an instance and call them. Instance creation should be done. Okay, because four are non-static. Okay. Now the question arises, where should we create the instance of a class? So one thing we got a clarity, all the four are non-static and instance creation is required. So now the next question is, where should we create the instance of a class? Okay, instance of a class can be created either within the same class or in another class also. Okay, so instance of a class can be created either within the same class or in another class. Choice is yours. You can create in the same class, you can create. Why do I create another class? If you create the instance in another class, you can call these methods from another class now. If you create the instance in the same class, you can call it from the same class. You can call it from the same class. If you create another class, you can call from another class. Reusability, guys. Reusability. Tomorrow the instance of the class can be created in another class, and from there you can call all the methods possible. Oh sir, I want to create instance in the same class. Okay, create. Then you can call from same class. Okay? Fine. I'll show you both the two options. First let us see same class. Afterwards I'll show you another class. First we'll start with same class. Okay? Now see. If the instance is being created in the same class, the instance is being created in the same class. Close your notes, yes. Close your notes. Concentrate on the board. Concentrate on the screen. If the instance is created in the same class, okay, then we do it under any static block of the class. We do it under any static block of the class. Remember, main is static. So we generally create instances in, what is that, all of you? Read it. Active, yeah. Come on, read it and tell me, are you clear? If the instance is being created in the same class, then we need to do it under a static block of the class. Static block of the class. Static block of that class. And remember, main method is static, so we generally create instances in main method. Okay, next point. If the instance is being created in another class, then we can do that under any block of the new class. That is either static or non-static. Read the 2 points, read all the 3 points carefully first. Read all the 3 points. So let us start for creating within the class. Within the class, where it should be created? Where it should be created? Static block. Within the class, where it should be created? Static block. Out of the class? Any block. Out of the class? Any block. Within the class? Static block. So the best example for a static block is main. The best example for a static block is main. So what is the best place to create the instance now? Main method. The best place to create the instance is main method, guys. Is it clear? Come on, let's do it. We don't have a main method in the class as of now. We don't have a main method in the class as of now. Let's define the main method. Guys, observe. Static void main. So here, instance creation can be done. Okay? Now, the question is how to create the instance of the class. How to create the instance of the class. How to create the instance of the class. Okay? Watch it, guys. Syntax of the instance creation is, syntax for it is class name, instance name is equals to new class name, and then we can have some values. That is the syntax to create the instance of the class. Come on, guys. What is the name of our class now? Program. Program instance name. Any name, your choice, is equals to new program. And values are mandatory or optional? Ignore them. I'll tell you when the time comes. Okay? And guys, remember, don't forget, this is declaration and initialization. This is declaration and initialization. And you can break the code like this. Program P. What is this? Declaration. Sorry. Next, P is equals to new program. What is this? I already explained to you the advantage of separating declaration from initialization. Remember that? Okay, that's what. And remember, remember a note here. What here? In Java and .NET languages, the instance of a class can be created only by using new keyword, which is actually responsible for memory allocation. Guys, read it and let me know if you have any doubts. Fast. Let's come to your code now. Go to the main, create the instance. Program P is equals to new program. What did we do? We created the instance. After creating the instance, what next? The next thing is, I wanted to call the methods. Okay, how to call T dot. T dot. When you call this, guys, already explained you, IntelliSense will show you the list of all the methods. You can see from the IntelliSense, the first method is a non-value returning method without any parameters. See there, void, the non-value returning, no parameters. Second one, non-value with parameters. Third one, value returning, not string. Don't read that. What is that? Value returning without parameters. Fourth one, value returning with parameters. What type of value is it returning? Then you will tell string, not string. Don't read it. So it's a value returning method with the parameters. And the value what it returns is string, and the parameter what it takes is also string. So tomorrow by looking into here, you can just understand what methods are there, what will they take, what will they return, all the information will be available for you here now. In C language, if you want to call a function, you must know the name of the function, the parameters it takes, the return types it takes, you must know all the things. But here, if I know the class, that's enough. IntelliSense will show me the list and tells you, pass this, you will get this. Are you clear? Come on. So first let us see calling. Calling non-value returning. First let us see calling non-value returning. P dot test1. And all of you guys remember this method we have defined to print the multiplication table of 5, right? Start. Remember how to start? You got the start button there or only F5? Okay? But don't forget, if you want to do in the last line you should write console dot read line. Let's see. Quality. You got all the results. Okay? So that's what? What the drawback with this, I can call this method for 100 times. For all the 100 times, it will print you multiplication table of 5 only. Remember that? That's what I said here. This method is static in behavior. Okay? Next, I'm putting a line break there. I'm printing a line break. And now I'm calling the second method. What is that? Test2. For test2, can I print the multiplication of the number I want? I want to print the multiplication table of 8. And guys remember, can I call this method for 100 times in my code and find the multiplication table of 100 different numbers now? Yes or not? That is what we call the dynamic in behavior. Okay? But whatever number you pass, it's printing the multiplication table from 1 to 10 also. You pass any number, but brings the multiplication table from 1 to 10. Suppose you pass the 61 now. It will print the multiplication table of 61 from 1 to 10. 61 ones are 61, 61 twos are 122. Same way 61 tens are 110. But guys have a different requirement. What is, I want to get the multiplication table of 8 from 1 to 12. I want the multiplication table of 8 from 1 to 12. I want the multiplication table of 9 from 1 to 15. I want the multiplication table of 6 from 1 to 20. Are you following my point here? When not only the number here, the upper bound also I want to be dynamic now. The upper bound also I want to be dynamic. To do this, look all of you, what I'm doing. I'll come to the method test2. Here we passed one parameter. What is that? Int x. I'll put a comma here and I'll say int ub. What is ub? Upper bound. And in the place of 10 here, I'm using, in the place of 10, I'm using UB. Now guys, listen, if I pass 8, 12, I'll get the multiplication table of 8 from 1 to 12. If I say 8, 15, I'll get the multiplication table 8 from 1 to 15. So can I get the multiplication table of my number up to my specified upper bound or not? That's what dynamic means. See now, we'll get up to 12. No, I want to get until 20. Yeah, you're right. 20, you'll get up to 20 also. I hope you guys are clear. Okay, if I pass 15, I'll get up to 15. Okay, so fine. So this is how you call the non-value returning methods. Next, I'll get a line break again. To separate the outputs, I'm adding the line break, that's all. Okay, calling value returning methods. It's all of you observe. When I call this method p dot test tree, test tree doesn't take any parameters. Test tree doesn't take any parameters. When I run the code, I won't see any output on screen. Why is that? This method returns a value, doesn't print a value. These two methods will print the value, but this method doesn't print the value. This method returns a value. So what is your job now? If a method returns a value, it is your responsibility to capture that value first. It is our responsibility to capture that value. What type of value it returns, guys? String type. What's it returning here? String type. So what should I do? I need to capture it. After capturing, now the result will be in str1. Now you can print it, or you can print it on the screen, or I want to store it in a file, or I want to store it in a database. Choice is yours. You can do anything you want now. Are you clearer or not? Once you get the result, I want to print it on the screen. Print it. No. I want to save it in a file. Save it. No, I want to save it in a database. Whatever you want, you can do, guys. When the result comes to you, the next option is yours, what you want to do. Okay? For the time being, I'm only printing the results to you. Console dot write line str1. Now you can see this. See it? Hello world. Okay? Same way, guys. Same way. Let's call the second method also. Same process. String str2 is equals to p dot test4. And test4 takes a parameter, guys. Remember, what is it? A string as a parameter. I'm passing India. Console dot write line str2. Now you see. Are you clear? Okay, so you just got that particular string in the uppercase now. You got that particular string in the uppercase. Str, I'm writing the code, not simply return str. I'm writing return hello plus str. Hello plus str. Hello. Guys, here, what is converted to uppercase? The given string is converted. I passed in lowercase, but I got the output in uppercase. Are you clear? So this is how you call non-value returning methods, and this is how you call value returning methods. In case of value returning methods, your responsibility is to first capture the results. After capturing the results, then you print the values. Understood, everyone? Every point I just showed you step by step in detail to you. What I said you first, where to define methods inside a class. I done it. Second, if you want the methods to execute, we need to call them. So then we learned how to call. For calling, I said you, if they're static, prefix the class name and call. If they're non-static, create an instance and call. And luckily now, not luckily, and right now, all our 4 methods are non-static. So I planned for creating an instance. And when you create an instance, we raised the question, where this instance should be created. And for that also a clarification. If you are creating instance in the same class, you need to create it under, not main method, I did not tell you main method. Static block, body present and mind absent, follow me what I'm telling you. If you are creating an instance within the same class, should be created on the static block, not main method. But what do I say? Generally we do it in main method because main is static. Are you clear? You are not creating an instance in main. You are creating instance in the static block. Because main is static, we went to there. Tomorrow you can write another static block and create the instance there also possible. So tomorrow don't give the answers in interviews. Instance should be created in main method. The instance should be created on the static block of the class. Main is static only, no? So we'll do it under main. Okay? Second point I said here, if you want to create instance in another class. Where should I create? Any block. In another class, any block. Shall we try that now? So right now we tried within the same class. Shall we try another class now? Okay, watch it guys. I'm showing you another class also now. What is that? Can I add a new class in the project? How to add a class? Open the Solution Explorer. Second step. Right click on the project. Right click on the project. Add new item. Add new item. And choose a class. Give a name to the class. Any name here, your choice. I'm giving the name as test. Your first class name is program. Now the new class name I'm giving it as test program. Click add. Watch guys. Program, test program. Class defined. And I explained all these things. By default it writes you internal, even though it doesn't write also that is internal only. Okay? Default anyway internal, even if you remove that also that is internal only. Okay, now here I'm writing a main method. Static void console.readline. Guys, do you remember if at all I want to run this class? I'll write the code here just a minute. If I want to run this class, I need to set the startup object property first. Multiple entry points in the project. So error. So I need to set the startup object. How to set? Open the Solution Explorer again. Right click on the project and select the option. What is that? Edit project file. Edit project file. It opens a window, and here you should write inside property group. Inside the property group, right? What? Startup object. Startup object. Specify the name. What is the name, guys? Oops project dot test program. Okay. Now I won't get any error when I run the test program. No code in the test program. That's a blank screen. No code here. That's a blank screen here. Okay. Now I wanted to call the methods of the class program here. I wanted to call the methods of class program. Never doubt. Sir, you defined in another class. Can I call from here? Yes, you can call. That's what the reusability object-oriented programming provides to you. You're talking about reusability is one of the strengths here now. There is a reusability what object-oriented programming gives to you. And reusability can be done in two ways. You can consume the members of a class in another class. You can consume the members of a class from another class in two different ways. I repeat, we can consume the members of a class from another class in two different ways. What are the two different ways? Option number one, inheritance. Option number one is, I'm not teaching inheritance now. It's still, we need to have 4 or 5 sessions still to go to inheritance. I'll teach you, don't bother, because I require to give a clarity about methods, I require to give a clarity about instance creations and all. Then I will tell you about inheritance. Hold on, we are not talking about inheritance now. Ignore it. So option number one is inheritance. I'll tell you a week after. Option number two is instance creation. Option number two is instance creation. Without creating instance, without inheriting, you can directly create the instance of the class here. See guys, which class instance you created now? Program class. Where did you create? Outer here, no energy at all. Outer. There. Test program. Understood my point here? Which class instance? Where you created? Test program. Understood? That's what. Now, can I call the methods? Yes, you can call same like previous. See now? P dot. Test one. Now also, this will print me multiplication table of 5 only. Got the point now? T dot test 2. See now? I now want to print a multiplication table of 13 now. I want to print a multiplication table of 13 up to 12. So did you understand the point dynamic here? I can call this method 10 times in my code, 10 times with the 10 different values. But if I call this method 10 times in my project, 10 times times you'll get same output only. But here 10 times you get the same output or different output? Different output you will be getting up there. Okay? Just line break, skip things. Okay now? Next, value returning methods. And guys, remember to call the value returning methods and declare the string first, capture the result here, and afterwards you printed the string here, right? Without again 2 lines of code, you can straight away write up like this here. Console.writeLine b dot. They already explained you na. Into dot parse console.readLine method in a method. First inner method executes now. Here also inner method execute test3. Test3 returns a string captured by write line prints it. That's all. Same way console.writeLine b dot test4. For test4 you are required to pass a string as a parameter. I'm passing the string as. Okay, run the code and you guys can watch. Here again hello world and here again multiplication table of 5. But here 13 and here the previous we have hello India, now we have hello America. So did you understand about creating instance in the same class and another class now? Yes or not? In the same class where it should be created? Static block. In another class where it can be created? In another class where it can be created? Any block. In another class creation can be done in any block. Are you clear? Observe it right now. In another class also right now I created under static only. Under static only. Yes or not? Shall we try creating a non-static now? Shall we try creating a non-static now? Watch. Public void call methods. Now tell me this method is static or non-static? Master. Non-static. Now copy this code here. And put it up here. See now. Copied and pasted the code there. Now also this is right. Valid only. In another class anywhere you can just create the instance now. So first I created in the static. Now I created in the non-static. But if I run now, this code won't execute. Alright, now I won't get the output. Why am I not getting the output? Earlier we got now. Earlier you called it written in main, yeah. Earlier you written in main. Main is implicitly called. But call methods is implicitly called. No. So we need to call methods explicitly first. To do that, first you require to create instance of test program. See? Test program. TP is equals to new test program. TP dot call methods and run now. See. Are you clear? My point is to tell you, instance creation can be done in another class also. In another class, static or non-static is your choice. You decide. I'm not telling you do it here. I'm telling you both are valid for you. It is based on your requirement where you wanted to create in a static blocker or you wanted to create in a non-static. Okay? Now if you carefully observe it, which class am I executing now? Programmer, test programmer? Test program. We're executing test program. So execution starts from where? Main method of test program. Execution starts from main method of test program. From here execution starts. Once the execution starts here, it will create the instance of the current class. It will create the instance of the current class. After creating instance of the current class, it will call methods. It will call methods. Control jumps to call methods. What will call methods do now? Create the instance of the program class. See, I created instance of test program. Main method created instance of test program. Control came to call methods. Call method creates instance of program. And now it is going to call the methods of the program. It's going to call the methods of the program. Do you understand the flow? You want to see the flow practically? You wanted to see the flow practically? You have a concept called as debugging. What is this debugging? Debugging is a process of identifying the step-by-step execution of a program. Debugging is a process of identifying the step-by-step execution of the program. very, very important in two scenarios. What are the two scenarios? Scenario number one, to understand the logic. To understand the logic. Today, I'm writing some logic here. Maybe you did not understand the appropriate logic. Maybe you did not understand the appropriate logic. Then you can adopt a debugging. You can adopt debugging. And you can see what is happening line by line. Are you clear? Tomorrow you started working in a company. When you start working in a company, tell me guys, because you joined newly in the company, will the company give you a new project for you to work on? You will be going and working on some existing project now. Are you clear? When you are going to work on the existing project, someone already written code there. Now you need to do some enhancements or some changes. Your lead has said you this existing functionality. So client has a different requirement, change the code. If you want to change the code, first you need to understand the existing code there now. Clear? How do you understand the code now? By debugging. By debugging, you will understand from where it is starting, where is it going, which method is executing, what is happening in each method, all the things we do. Second scenario where it will help you, in bug fixing. In bug fixing. The application went to production. As the application went to production, the client has reported, when I'm doing so and so action, I got an error. When I'm doing so and so action, I got an error. When the client says he got an error, you have thousands of classes in your project and billions of lines of code in the project. When the client says, where is the error? I got an error. Can you tell me where the error came? Tell me guys, do you know where the error came? You don't know where the error came. When you don't know where the error came, how do you fix the error? Again, how to know where the error came? Debug. When you debug, step by step it is going to show you, and where the error comes, it will tell you, yeah, this is the place where the error came. Now you can analyze that code and you can fix the problems or the bugs coming there. So debugging is one of the very important concepts what you just require to learn as a programmer. Are you clear? How to debug the code? How to debug the code? Concentrate on this all. How to debug the code? First you need to decide from where debugging should be done. From where debugging should be done. I want to debug the code which is present in the call methods. I want to debug the code which is present in the call methods. No, I want to debug the code from the main method only. You decide first. After deciding, you will decide from where the debugging should be done. You need to create a breakpoint. After deciding where the debugging should start from, you are going to create a breakpoint. Okay, how to create a breakpoint? Okay guys, I want to do debugging from main method. First case I want to do debugging. So I want to do debugging from where? Main method. So come now, this is the first line of the main method now. Now put your cursor here and hit F9.